Hello, hello, my politics nerd friends. Welcome back to Technically Clay. I'm here. I'm not queer, but I'm ready to go. um, Today, let's see. Yesterday I didn't really do much after the stream. I watched some Stargate with my wife. We're almost through season two. It's pretty good. I'm still liking it a lot. Uh, Today I was unable to motivate to work out, still processing a bunch of, you know, emotions about my cat. I'm hoping that she'll be okay. She's going into surgery in a week. But yeah. And then for dinner today, I made a little bit of ramen. I like to take, the cheap ramen that you can get at in any grocery store or whatever. And then I have a bunch of like frozen sort of mix-ins that I just toss in whenever I do that. It's like my easy meal, but I think it tastes almost as good as what you can get at a restaurant, which is pretty impressive for how cheap it is. So if anybody ever cares to know how I do that more, maybe someday I'll let people in on my little secret. Um, so we're about to get content pilled as we do every day here. About to go into the news. The news of the day, obviously, oops, all Iran. It just won't stop. The war. I thought it was over yesterday. Trump told me it was over. I believed him. I mean, and yet here we are. They're still talking about it. I don't understand. So, um, so anyway, we're going to start with this video. This is Iran unleashes massive attacks on day 13 of war by CBS News. We'll see what kind of insights the people over at at CBS have. I'm sure they will be very objective, 100%.
Let's begin with CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata, continuing his reporting in Tel Aviv. Good morning, Charlie. Tell us about the latest attacks there.
Yeah, good morning, Errol. It has been another noisy night here in Israel and really across the Middle East, despite President Trump saying the war is won. Iran and its regional proxies unleashed coordinated attacks at multiple targets throughout.
Hasn't Iran been listening? Don't they know that the war's over? What are they doing?
Tonight.
The silly goose.
Overnight, Iran focused its attacks on the lifeblood of the region, small boats packed with explosives slamming into these oil tankers off the coast of Iraq.
I saw some pictures of that.
In Bahrain, fuel depots burned. The Bahraini government warning people to stay indoors to avoid inhaling poisonous fumes.
This is one of those things that I don't know if it actually would have happened if America and Israel didn't previously bomb Iran's gas stockpiles and stuff or whatever. I think that they're really heavily like just kind of like they're just letting America know like anything that you do, we will do or whatever. And I think and Israel obviously, and I don't think America and Israel are used to that because they're used to fighting much weaker people than Iran, so that threat actually holds a little bit of weight. So, but let's see what else has happened.
Critical energy sites in Oman were also targeted. An Iranian drone filmed dive bombing into a storage facility in a direct hit.
Pretty
also
accurate.
Under fire, the Gulf's commercial infrastructure as another luxury high-rise in Dubai is struck by a drone. And in Kuwait, 2 people reportedly wounded in a strike on an apartment block. 6 U.S. soldiers died in the first 48 hours of the war at a tactical operations center in Kuwait.
That's sad.
That drone attack, CBS News has learned, was much more serious than previously reported.
Okay, I've also heard about this. I think a bunch more people were like seriously wounded than they let on initially. We'll see what else they have to say, but again, we shouldn't have our people over there. This is exactly what they're there for. They're there to be sitting ducks for Iran to hit. And our military, our president, our big beautiful boy up there, they do not give a single shit about these 6 members'
Has
lives.
learned was much more
Let me
serious
see
than
if I can
previous
pull them back up.
election.
These 6 people, and also the other one, there's 7 now. They do not give a single flying shit about any of these people. I care more about them, and I'm an anti-imperialist who's very much against people joining our imperialist army. So, like they are there to be sitting ducks for Iran to hit. They served their duty according to American empire. I'm sorry, it sucks. I wish they didn't have to, but that is, the situation that we put them in. So,
Center in Kuwait. That drone attack, CBS News has learned, was much more serious than previously reported. With more than 60 injured and 30 still hospitalized as of Tuesday, airlifted to a U.S. medical hub in Germany and being treated for brain injuries and shrapnel wounds. And
yeah,
overnight,
sounds
we're
pretty
learning
bad.
that another military facility in the region has been hit.
My
Smoke
tax
and
dollars.
flames rising above a
Ah, man, I didn't know my tax dollars burned so black, man. That's crazy. All my tax dollars just, whoo, there they go, off and evaporating into the atmosphere to then cause everybody who lives on Earth cancer. What a great thing we do here in America.
U.S.-led coalition base in northern Iraq. U.S. and Israeli warplanes and missiles continued hitting targets across Iran as Israel intensified its campaign against Iranian proxies, Hezbollah, in Lebanon, on another front in this widening war.
Yeah, Israel's going to start switching entirely over to Lebanon pretty soon here, I think. I just don't think they don't like. I think that they're going to realize pretty quickly that there's not a whole much more that they can do with Iran, and they would much rather fight somebody who like they have more of a chance of win. Like their classic bully move, right? Like someone like actually fights back, and you take a couple hits, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back to beating up like this scrawny little nerd over there who can't fight back. Like it's just classic bully shit. So I think Israel's gonna start like kind of phasing out the whole sending these long like planes or these planes on long rides over to Iran to do bombardments and just move over to just bombing the shit out of the civilian infrastructure in Lebanon, because the civilian infrastructure in Lebanon, it's a lot closer. It's a lot easier to bomb, and there's not as much capabilities of Hezbollah to hit back, even though there's some still, but they can't hit back as hard as Iran does. So, but I think Iran has said that they're going to keep bombing Israel and ramp that up regardless of what Israel does. So it's not like they can really control what Iran does anyway.
While on the ground in Tehran, funerals for the hundreds of Iranians killed in this conflict.
We watched this yesterday.
As much an expression of mass rage as mourning.
I thought he was going to say something else. Oops.
So the death toll in Iran is now over 1,300, at least according to the regime there. And there is increasing evidence that the United States is responsible for the bombing of a girls' school that killed at least 175 people.
By the way, we read this article yesterday. If you want to see me read this article and, in a humorous way, analyze, the atrocities that we commit abroad, you can go see that on my YouTube channel.
Most of them children. It appears to have been struck by a Tomahawk cruise missile, and the U.S. is the only military in this conflict that uses that weapon. Darryl?
All right, very sobering. Charlie D'Agata, thank you.
In the last few minutes, Iranian state television.
That moving on a little too fast for me. I guess this is why other people pull up all their tabs ahead of time. I don't got the time for that. I just put it on a playlist and then we can watch it. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it looks like the main thing I was hoping to get more video footage of was those tankers being hit. Like I said, I was told by my big beautiful president that the war was over and everything's safe. Keep sending your oil tankers through, and clearly that is not the case. So let's go on and move to some more Iran news. This is from the big beautiful channel BBC News. Sorry. This one is about Khomeini, the son, the new supreme leader. I think it's his first address to the nation. So this one's called Iran's new supreme leader vows to keep blocking the Strait of Hormuz in first statement by BBC News. Let's see what they have to say.
In the last few minutes, Iranian state television has broadcast a message from the newly appointed supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. The message was read by an announcer and gave no indication as to the state of his health, which has been under question. Some reports say he was injured in that attack that killed his father and mother and other family members nearly 2 weeks ago. In the message, he said Iran would avenge the blood.
I assume that he wasn't killed, or like, sorry, not killed, but I assume that he wasn't injured, like super bad. Otherwise, I don't know if they would have chosen him as the leader. But he might, he might get targeted at some point anyway. I'm sure they have plenty of, hardliners that they could replace him with at a moment's notice. So.
Of its martyrs, and would continue to close the key Strait of Hormuz.
Our aim is actually to fail them, to make them fail in a very regrettable way. The enemy is...
Sorry, this is very hard to follow, this audio, however they're doing this. They really should have just had someone reread the transcript or something, because this is like kind of unintelligible a little bit.
Actually very vulnerable. They cannot actually open new fronts. And we are going to open new fronts against the enemy if deemed necessary.
Okay.
The new leader, who is 56 years old, spoke about losing his family and also talked of revenge.
I would like to focus on and address those people who have been suffering recently in the recent days, who have been harmed recently, those who have lost their loved ones, have been injured, those whose houses, whose businesses have been damaged or have been harmed. And first of all, I would like to express my condolences to the survivors, to the families of those killed and martyred. With the exception of my father, who has become so gentle, who's lost my wife, my dear wife, and my dear sister.
He lost a lot of his family in that strike. So yeah, I think he's probably ready for a little bit of avenging himself.
who was always serving her parents and who was rewarded this way spiritually, and also her child, and also my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, they have joined the ranks of the martyrs. And what has actually made it possible for me to have the patience.
For those unaware, like martyrdom in like Islamic culture, and again, take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm no expert or anything, but is a very honorable thing to happen. And this sort of idea of martyrdom is born out of resistance and, the necessity of resistance narratives and stuff. So this is why I say his father, I don't think would have wanted to just like die of a cold or something. Like, I think that he, like, honestly was ready to be martyred probably. And, that doesn't obviously excuse the act of it, but I think that, I don't know, we should also take that into consideration when we do this. A lot of Americans don't really understand the concept of martyrdom or whatever, but it's really just, it's a narrative of resistance that's like, necessary when you're being colonized and being killed on a daily basis by your colonizers. So
is actually the promise of God for rewarding the patient, the people who have the patience in the right way. And I have hope, and I have actually, I'm assured in this. And I would like to assure you that the revenge will be taken of all the people for all the martyrs. Not only our leader, actually any member of the nation who has been martyred or will be martyred by the enemies will be added to the file of the revenge Part of the revenge has already been carried out, but it will be completely carried out. And until then, this file will be open, and the children who have been killed, that's even a more sensitive issue. The crimes that are intentionally being carried out by the enemy, who was carried out by the enemy regarding the school, the children's school of Mina, is of a special attention and importance.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been officially confirmed by America now at this point. I mean, we don't even really need that. Like I mean, when a school gets bombed, it's you really got like if it's a multiple choice question, like I don't know, there's two people who tend to be the culprit. You got, if I put Israel, America, and Iran on a multiple choice question and said, who do you think bombed this school? And that's all the information you got. I think most people could get the answer right pretty easily.
And they're going to be provided with free health service, and they're going to be provided with a package of benefits and families of those children, and also other damages that have been inflicted upon the places and properties of people, and they're going to be carried out as well. And as a duty that has to be carried out by all the responsible agencies of the government, they should perform their duties and report to me.
Okay. I'm sorry that that audio was so rough. I did not really expect it. I don't really pre-watch my videos, in case anyone's curious. I ain't got time for that, so if I find videos, I just kind of throw them on the list and then we go through them here. So, but it sounds like, you know, a pretty defiant message from him. Like they don't seem like they are going to allow America or Israel to declare the end of the war anytime soon. Like I said the other day, a person from the government came out and said that they're planning on keeping it up until the midterm so that Trump can face, you know, the most amount of consequences for these types of decisions. So, you know, we got another 8 months till then. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
Well, those the apparent words of the new supreme leader being spoken by Iranian state television presenter and translated for us. Let's cross live now to BBC
I don't know.
Persian. Baron, let's talk first of all about the fact that we don't see the supreme leader in this statement. We don't hear his voice. How do we know this is really him?
We don't, and there are speculations that it might not have been the supreme leader, the new supreme leader. We know that he was injured in the attack that killed his father and some of his family.
Again, I ask though, why would they install him as leader if he was on death's door? Like that seems like a silly thing to do, if I had to guess. Unless there's some like elaborate plan to go through him and then to some IRGC official or something, in order for like legitimacy or something. I don't know, but I really don't understand why they would do that. So I think that he probably did dictate it. He might just not be ready to come out in public yet.
Family members, and that he's probably in the hospital. The Israelis have said that he was injured in the attack, but it was not life-threatening. But we don't know the state of his health, and it is very much likely that the statement was not written by him. But he's a very reclusive figure. He's been an enigma for decades. And he has not made a speech before he was named the supreme leader. He'd never done an interview. So he might not be as present in the public eye as his father was, who was a president before he became the supreme leader. But if the statement was made by him, it just shows the continuation of his father's policies. And he talks about revenge. And there was speculation that he was actually be fueled by revenge, since his father, his mother, his wife, and some other family members of him were killed in the attack that on the first day of the war. And
yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want revenge for that? That's a horrible thing to happen. Also, war crime. If you're hitting the wives and children of foreign dignitaries, yeah, like, come on.
His statement was a message of defiance and confidence. He told the regional countries that they need to close the American bases in the region, and also said that the Strait of Hormuz will continue to be closed. So
yeah, I think that they've been talking a lot with the Gulf countries, and I think that they are trying to get the Gulf like they're trying to get the Gulf countries to agree to remove the bases, like in exchange for no longer targeting them, which yeah is fair. So I think that the Gulf countries, if I were them, I would just agree to that. I have a feeling your people are not very happy about all this shit happening to their country just because they're hosting American military bases. So we'll see what happens with that. I think it would be a good call by the Gulf countries to try to get as many of those bases off their territory as possible.
It seems to be what everyone had expected, that he will carry on the policies of his father.
Absolutely, Baron. And he also talked to the Gulf nations about all the attacks we've seen recently. He said that Iran is only attacking US bases in those states, and we know that is not true. We've all seen the pictures of missiles and drones hitting airports.
We all know. It's just a fact. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this to be true. We are not just claiming these things.
And residential buildings. He also talked about wanting reparations for damages done within Iran as well. What do you make of the way in which he spoke about these Gulf states? He talked about it being Ramadan and about the way in which they treat Iran. It felt to me like he's not really holding out an olive branch to his Gulf neighbors.
That's stupid. This is a stupid analysis. He is, but he wants material changes from them. They seem to think that, like, oh, you must just offer your friendship out of the kindness of your heart, Iran. Why are you bombing all of these countries? It's like, no, they had a strategy. They bombed all of the bases. They bombed, any of the American military service members they could find or whatever. And sure, I'm sure that some innocent people died as well. There is always that risk when you embed your military infrastructure amongst a civilian populace. But this sort of idea that they're just like blustering or something to the Gulf states. No, they for that last part, those were all strategic things that they were trying to achieve, and this is also strategic. They're strategically trying to get them to remove the bases from their soil so that they can no longer be used as a weapon against Iran, like they're being used right now, where they're sending targeting data. They're sending they're not sending missiles directly, but they're giving just a lot of intel and data and potentially firing off interceptors. And also they could be used in the future for supply lines or whatever, right? So they need that strategic thing to happen, and so that's what they're doing. The media loves to pretend like Iran is just some like madman who doesn't know what they're doing. Iran knows what it's doing. Everything that it's done has shown that they know what they're doing a lot more than we know what we're doing. So that's just kind of racist propaganda that you kind of have to see through. And once you have an eye for it, you'll see it pretty often.
But he is trying to explain himself a little more.
No, and this is what other officials in Iran have been saying over the past few days, that we are not actually attacking Persian Gulf states, but we're attacking the American and Israeli assets in the region. But yesterday, when a branch of Iranian bank was attacked in Iran by the Israelis, then the Iranian foreign minister won't banks in the regional countries that they will be attacked and that people should stay away from them. So it is, as I said, the continuation of what others have.
It's so funny, though. They just literally said that Israel just attacked a bank in Iran, a non-military asset, and then Iran threatened to do the same. And as far as I know, they haven't actually gone through with that. And then they're complaining about Iran threatening to do the same. When it's like, dude, the other person literally just did that shit. Like, what?
I've been saying we haven't really seen anything new in his statement. Everything that was said, the message of defiance, the message of carrying on with the military retaliation, have been said by the previous Iranian officials. And it seems that he's either a figurehead and that all the state affairs are at the moment, at least, being run by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and that the running of the country is in the hands of the armed forces rather than the civilian leadership. Or he's just going to take some time, at least, to consolidate his position in the country. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that, sorry, the framing on that whole ending part was a little frustrating. Also, the audio was so scuffed on the actual address that, but I think we still got some good information. We heard the tone, we heard how he sounds. He sounds like he's going to behave, I think a little bit more aggressively than his father did. So, and I predicted that whoever they put in charge, whether it's, him or anybody else, would be more hardline, especially given the nature of what we're doing to him. So, yep, that's about what I was expecting. Let's see. What do I want to do now? We'll go over to the Clinton News Network.
What are your thoughts on what Donald Trump just said?
Okay, here we are, the Clinton News Network, CNN. We are going to listen to this retired admiral assess the Strait of Hormuz threat. Like I said, I don't pre-watch any of these. This could be a good analysis, a rare good analysis from somebody on the Clinton News Network, or it may just be, a propagandist stating, the State Department talking points. He was given a little slip along with maybe a crisp $100 bill of a slip of paper with all the talking points he needs to bring up. But we'll see. We'll see how biased we think he is. I think I'm usually pretty good at clocking whether somebody is biased or not. So, the Iran War, retired admirals assess Strait of Hormuz threat. Let's do it.
They're saying he thinks ships should pass through, despite the fact they have seen other tankers being attacked today.
Yeah. Why are they so scared? What are they scared of? What are they scared of? Oh, wait, that ship just got blew up this morning? Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think I would be pretty scared too.
Yeah, I think... Well, first off, I think the Straits of Hormuz is going to be dangerous because of what the Iranians are doing right now. They're deliberately attacking ships in the vicinity of the straits to give the impression that they control the straits, and in essence, de facto, the major shipping companies and the oil carriers are deciding that the risk is too high.
Okay. Then it seems like they do control the Strait of Hormuz, if that's the case. If they have made a statement that, hey, we're blocking this, and then nobody is going through it, because the the assessment is it's too dangerous, it seems like they do control the Strait of Hormuz.
For them to transit through. So that's really each individual company's decision to make. And I think what we need to see play out is the U.S. able to diminish the threat to the targets that Iran is attacking around the straits enough so that ships can start passing again.
Do you know how close they are to Iran when they're going through that strait? They are incredibly close. I'm sure there'll be a map somewhere along the line, but they are so close. You're never going to get all of Iran's missiles. Like, they're deep underground. They're going to be able to shoot them off for a long time. And then not only that, I am sure that they will be able to produce more, and they will be able to produce more than we can produce interceptors, because in America we can't produce shit anymore. So I just don't see this. This seems a little silly to think that that at some point they're going to be degraded so much that they're not going to be able to defend a 20 to 30 kilometer strait like that's right off of their coast.
He also spoke more recently about what he described as an excursion for the US. He's implying that it could be over sooner rather than later, I think. I mean, it's always difficult to tell, but he wasn't describing it as a...
Our big intelligible or unintelligible president. That's him.
Ingrained war.
I never know what he's saying either.
So that would suggest if things do calm down, then America could pull back. But that doesn't necessarily mean the Iranians will pull back. They may go in harder, right?
Well, that's the question. You don't know what the harder is. We can talk about in a second. But just because the president, well, first of all, let's talk about what would get the president to stop. He's going to be listening to his commander in Central Command that he gave a very specific mission to, and that was to dismantle the Iranian security apparatus's ability to attack outside their borders. And that includes the Straits of Hormuz. It includes the targets you're seeing them strike now, which are, in some cases.
I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the Strait of Hormuz was actually under Iranian territory. I could be wrong, but I thought it was.
Civilian hotels and such. So he'll be listening closely to the CENTCOM commander on how they're getting at that mission, which includes ballistic missiles. It includes these drones to some extent, but they'll always probably be around the drones. And then it also includes this capability the Iran has to say they can control the straits. That's why the focus right from...
They're going to stop them from being able to talk. They're going to mind control and make it so they can't say those words anymore.
The beginning also included getting after the Navy. That didn't mean the Navy, only their ships. It meant their cruise missiles, their mining capability, all the things that they have used in the past to hold hostage the straits to the global economy. So I think that's who he's going to be looking to let him know how we're doing against that mission to decide to stop. And then your other question is, does that mean the Iranians stop? Well, only the Iranians know that, but certainly, their capability.
Just so you know, they're not going to stop this time. Oh, Google it to double check. Let me see. Yeah. Strait of Hormuz, Iran. Because I thought, this is just my assessment, I thought Iran also controlled a small amount of territory on the other side, but I could be wrong about that. Sorry, I'm doing some, you know what, I'll just put this up here, I guess. So here's the strait. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought this was also Iran, but whatever. It's open water, so it might not count. Anyway, we'll keep on watching.
Do what they could have done at the beginning of this is diminished.
Absolutely, we've seen that in the air, haven't we?
Sorry, I gotta go back a little bit. I got a little bit distracted there.
This is certainly, their capability to do what they could have done at the beginning of this is diminished.
Okay,
absolutely, we've seen that in the air, haven't we? Less missiles coming from Iran, but they are now focusing on this economic war, effectively, which is the Strait of Hormuz, and they don't have to do much to disrupt it. They've said, sources are saying they have laid some mines, but even if there's just one in there,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, ma'am. I'm a streamer. I'm trying to do live stuff, so that's the whole point.
Be a real safety factor for any ship going through, and the insurers won't want to secure those ships. So that's a very effective strategy, isn't it, on the Iranian side? And how do the Americans handle that? How do they find that one mine that may be a real challenge here?
Yeah, well, you're right that they have focused now on trying to ratchet up the pressure economically, right? That's why they're attacking ports, airports. They made a comment of potentially financial institutions. That's their game plan, right? To get at the will of the Gulf nations, to get at the will of the United States and the rest of the.
Hey, as someone who lives in the United States, I can tell you it's working. My will is like down bad right now. Like it is low. It is low. And
to get at the will of, even the European countries to pressure the United States and potentially stopping. But your comment is, yeah, it doesn't take a lot to put a mine in the water, but to have those mines be effective, they're going to have to do a little bit more than just drop a few in because they can be dealt with. If they start actually laying minefields or putting a lot adrift, that's a different situation.
I still don't think they're going to do that. I know there's been some reporting that they're going to lay some mines, or that they already did or something. I really don't think. I mean, maybe they will at some point, but uh, like I said yesterday, they want to still allow certain flagged vessels to go through, like China and Russia. They don't want to force that to a halt as well. So they want to strategically say like, oh, only these like America-Israeli flagged ships are not allowed to pass or whatever. So if they mine it, then they have to either escort ships themselves or send navigational data to the people who they're allowing through. And that's just a lot of overhead and work that they probably don't want to deal with if they want to keep that option open.
You saw yesterday, I think, a lot of Iranian ships that could put mines in the water being destroyed, but it doesn't take much to put one or two in and then say it's mined. So your point is valid, and the United States would have to, along with the other nations, show that those mines aren't a danger.
I am curious as to how sophisticated you think the Iranians are in mine warfare.
We'll see how biased we think this guy is. I think that last guy was, I'd give him a 7 out of 10 bias, like America bias or whatever.
Oh, they're very, very good.
Sorry, just looking at this guy before he goes, I'm going to go ahead and give him a 3 out of 10. I don't trust him. And it's not just because he's bald, I swear.
In mine warfare.
Oh, they're very, very good, Laura. They've been practicing it, thinking about it, going back to the late 1980s when, as a young Navy officer with a lot more hair in those days,
he heard me. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
In and out of the Persian Gulf. The Iranians, even then, were putting mines in the water. That was the late 1980s. You're showing the picture. It's a very narrow strait. The Iranians have 5,000 mines
Oman.
in total.
Okay.
They can turn it into a hellscape in a few days with those mines. They've been thinking about it, preparing for it for decades.
So I would have to assume that it's like shared ownership, between Oman and Iran. But you know what? We're learning here. I don't know all of my Middle East countries where they are, where they're located on a map that well. I'm from the Midwest. They don't teach us that stuff here.
Does the U.S. have any ability to neutralize that threat? And how long might that even take?
We do have that ability, and we do it with partners, allies, and friends. Always the best way to conduct war if you have to. So we have mines.
Yeah, AKA it's better to throw other countries' people into the meat grinder than our own people, is what he's saying there.
Snipers in the Gulf. We have mine hunters, very advanced electronic systems. We can do it with helicopters from the air. The British have minesweepers. The Saudis have minesweepers. That's the good news, Laura. Here's the bad news. It takes time. So clear a couple of hundred miles of a couple of hundred mines over maybe 10 miles would take you days, and the Iranians can put thousands in the water. So it could take.
They can also just like blow you up like as you're trying to do it. Like you're right off of their coast. They are right there. Their missiles can be locked and loaded like right on you when you're doing it. It seems like a very dangerous mission if you're going to try to do that. But still, I don't think they've done that. Like this all seems like hypothetical make-believe shit.
Weeks, if not a month or two, to clear it of the mine. So the global economy needs to be prepared for a month or two shutdown. That's going to be very problematic for the global economy.
And that's for the existing mines.
I guess
they might put more on the more that you're removing. You never know what's going to happen there about their stockpile that might be. Look, the president says the United States will escort ships through the strait. Iran continues to say the strait is closed. You took part in a similar operation.
Go ahead and put those American military assets right next to all of my valuable oil. I'm sure nothing could go wrong.
During the Iran-Iraq wars back in the 80s, Is that plan plausible?
Nah.
It is plausible. In
No, it's not.
1987, for example, I was third in command operations officer on a Navy cruiser.
Okay, we might do it, I guess. We might do it if somebody asks us to, but I just don't think people are going to ask us to. And also, I would say like there's like a maybe 50-50 chance that we would actually go through with it, because I'm sure that our military chain of command would be like, this is stupid. Like, we're going to get our people killed if we do this. Like, so I don't know. I'm not convinced that we'll actually go through with that, even on the off chance that there is some oil tanker like company that is like silly enough to try to do that.
Called Operation Earnest Will, when we reflagged tankers, put a U.S. flag on them, then we escorted them in and out. Reasonable plan in 1987. Here's the problem, Laura. In addition to the mines and the level of mining, today we have drones. We have much more sophisticated anti-ship missiles. The Iranians, if we don't take out all of their offensive capability, could saturate that.
It's impossible. You can't do that. You're not going to do that. That's never been done before. You're not going to be able to take away all offensive capability from a country as big as Iran. Like, you're just not. That's never going to happen. So again, we're playing like this make-believe future world that they like. It's just not possible. Even with boots on the ground, like you would need, like, we did boots on the ground in Afghanistan, and afterwards, like, the Taliban took all of the arms. Like, yes, in the interim, while you have a full puppet government going, like, yeah, during that time period, you could open up the strait or whatever. But as soon as you leave, then it's just they take control again, and they have all of those arms back. Like, I don't know. It's the media definitely loves to live in like hypothetical, like make-believe world sometimes.
Strait of Hormuz in ways that potentially could get through to these tankers. So yes, we can escort. It's not a panacea. It's not going to completely solve that problem.
The White House is not ruling out using troops on the ground, and some reports suggest the president may use a team of special forces to secure Iran's.
Our big beautiful president loves nothing more than a great loophole, and I think he sees special forces as a loophole to boots on the ground. So he'll probably try to do something like that, but it'll inevitably bleed into, you know, a full scale like ground invasion or whatever. I mean, that's kind of my expectation at this point, but it'll be terrible to do. Like, we'll lose a lot of people trying to even just get into Iran, like trying to set up a supply line to get people in there or whatever. Like,
enriched uranium. You've got the former Defense Secretary Mark Esper for Trump. He calls that idea, quote, perilous. Do you share that concern?
Or read stupid.
I do. That's the right word. It's a huge roll of the dice.
Stupid is the right word. You guys, these people, they're in their suits. They feel like they can't use, you know, lower tier language like me. The correct answer though is stupid.
By the way, wouldn't be like a small team of 12 highly trained special forces. This is 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium, and it's guarded by very elite Iranian units. You would need not a squad, not a platoon, not a company. You'd need at least a battalion, 700 or 800 special forces, Army Rangers to go in there. Very complex operation.
I've got to be honest. I retract my 3 out of 10 in terms of, or actually no, 3 out of 10. Oh, I think I had it backwards in my head. 3 out of 10 actually is a pretty good number. I think that he was pretty unbiased in his assessment, to be honest. I mean, he liked to live in like make-believe world a little bit of like, you know, completely destroying every single speck of gunpowder in Iran, but yeah, I don't know. I think that he was better than the last guy. Wow, Clinton News Network, gotta love it. Let's see here. I could watch that. I always get tired of Iran content though. Like, I can only do so much in a row before I'm like tired of it. Let's do this one. This is a little bit of a tangentially Iran content.
Turning now to
So we're going to go back to our friends over at Breaking Points. Sagar, his big beautiful face, actually not that big, to be honest, but it's right in front of me. I'm ready to hear what he has to say. This is about the apparently guys, I don't know if you know this. Iran has created a new capability that I was unaware of. They're able to launch a drone from Iran that is going to hit California. Now, this is news to me. Honestly, I didn't know they had intercontinental drones so far. So, this is kind of wild. But apparently they might. And California, I'm sorry, you're the woke capital of America, California or whatever. They're going for you first. I'm sorry to say. So let's see what we can learn about this video from Breaking Point. PSYOP. FBI warns of Iran attack on California.
Turning now to a very strange incident, which we have to keep you all updated. So there's this big piece of news from ABC that broke yesterday. Let's put it up here on the screen. What do we have? We have the FBI is warned that Iran aspired to attack California with drones in retaliation for the war. The warning came in a bulletin that was sent to police departments in recent days that Iran could retaliate for American attacks by launching drones at the West Coast. We recently acquired information. As of early February 2026, Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the U.S. homeland, specifically against unspecified targets.
So, okay, they're shooting it from a boat. It isn't intercontinental. It isn't an intercontinental drone, which I was gonna say that's oof. Glad that doesn't exist yet. But okay, so it's in, I guess, a Navy ship or something is what they're saying, which I thought their Navy was completely destroyed. At least that's what my big, beautiful president's told me. But, well, I guess not. I guess one got through, one got away, and it took with it a single drone that is planned on launching straight at California.
In California, in the event that the U.S. conducted strikes against Iran. We have no additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators of this alleged attack. Obviously, a lot of hackles were raised at that one. What exactly is going on here? Is it a way to try and inspire fear in the American public
Probably.
in order to try and support some of what's going on right now with the war, and local police and others, including those briefed on the matter? Let's put F3, please, up on the screen. LAPD sources, this is from Fox News, by the way, just to show you how little credence that even these people are giving it. They say, I've talked to today, say there is not a known credible drone threat, and this may fall under the general death to America umbrella. So not really something that was worth.
Hey, that's a pretty big umbrella. There's a lot of people under that umbrella.
I think a full-blown bulletin.
There's more every single day we do this shit.
To the LAPD. Let's think about logistics here, Crystal. So the current range, I believe, of the drone would make it so that, what is it, like 3 to 4 times anything that is even in their theoretical maximal range for their longest range drone that they may have. They would have to put it on a unmanned aircraft carrier, which would have to sail thousands of nautical miles to off the coast of California, so via, across various different sea channels and other things which are highly monitored. And then it would have to take off from said aircraft carrier, unmanned carrier, allegedly, and then come and hit a site in California.
That is the most logistically complex operation for the smallest amount of gain possible that I have ever heard of. That sounds like something that we in America would come up with when we're just trying to find a new way to like detonate our tax dollars, like to burn them up as fast as possible. Like this is some like CIA program to find out if people are psychic level shenanigans in terms of like how little impact and how much money we spend on it, or they would spend on it.
Just personally a little skeptical of that.
Yeah, I would say so. There was another uncorroborated report, they say, from 2025 that suggested unidentified Mexican cartel leaders.
I have a question though. If this drone, like, if it ended up like hitting, like, say, Hassan Piker's house, whose side do you think all of the like Hassan derangement people like would be on, because I'm sure that they all hate Iran, right? But but Iran then also killed their main enemy. Like I feel like they would be like praising the Ayatollah, like let's convert to like Islam ASAP, like if they did that.
Leaders had authorized attacks using drones carrying explosives against U.S. law enforcement. They said this type of attack against U.S. personnel or interest inside the U.S. would be unprecedented, but exemplifies a plausible scenario, although cartels typically avoid actions that would result in unwanted attention or responses from U.S. authorities. Again, think of how nonsensical
this is just general paranoia bait. Like, this is what they're just trying to give, general paranoia to everybody. I think it is a level, I think that they must have some research that shows that there is a level of control that they can exact by putting out these like things in the same way that like this gives me the same vibe as that story of like spy balloons coming up to like New Jersey or something that people were saying was like the Chinese or something. I feel like it's all just here to give you a general level of paranoia that for what they do with it, for what research they have on like it being effective for their goals, I have no idea. But I think that it must have some sort of tangible effect on people that like they benefit from, to be honest. Otherwise, why would they keep doing it, you know? I mean, I guess they're stupid. That could be the answer too, but I don't know. I feel like they probably have some research that shows that this actually gives them like some small level of control over Americans' psyche or something.
You think the Mexican cartels want to start a war? Like, you think that's going to go well with them? You think that's an intelligent scenario? So they're clearly trying to gin up all of these, frightful scenarios of what could unfold. And they've got the sequencing all wrong here, Soccer. You got to manufacture the consent before the war starts. You got to do the false flag before you get into this thing. You got to generate all the fear and the anxiety.
They must have like, when they got the papers from Bush, like they must have read them upside down or something. Like they like read, first you go into a war, and then afterwards you develop consent for the war, and then they're like, no, turn the paper over, turn it over.
And oh my God, they're like terrible people who are coming to attack California. You got to do that before you launch the war, guys, because now it just reads as like, okay, well, if there's all this risk, why are you doing this? Why are you creating more risk? How is this creating any sort of like sense of safety for the American people? No, instead, what you're doing with these, fake bulletins is establishing that what you have done in the Middle East is just creating actually more risk and more danger for Americans here and abroad. I mean, I don't put any stock. There's all this like Iranian sleeper cell conversation now too. I don't put any stock in that as well either. But it is true that we are making a lot of people around the world absolutely hate our guts.
Super mega mecha ISIS, it's coming. Be on the lookout. It'll be here any day.
We just murdered 168 school children. How do you think that, their parents feel about us now? How do you think that their siblings who are going to grow up, how do you think they're going to feel about us now? How do you think all of the orphans in Gaza, or the children who are amputees now, largest amputee population in the world in Gaza, how do you think that they feel about us?
So let that happen.
Yes, we are creating...
Not only let that happen, actively facilitate it. It's atrocious. It's a stain on our entire country's moral character. It feels like a stain on my moral character, even though I was against it the whole time. So makes me feel terrible.
More danger for our own population and our own service members and our own assets in the region. Do I believe this particular story about drone striking LA? Absolutely not. And one other thing to keep in mind here is, what we've seen from Iran in terms of their attacks on any sort of U.S. personnel or bases in the region, it has always been we or Israel attack them first. We have not seen them, trying to come over here and drone strike us. We have not seen them out of the blue attacking our assets in the region either. It has always been in retaliation for something that we started. So it does not fit their pattern of behavior whatsoever. And of course, we already have law enforcement officials who are like, this is ridiculous.
The drone thing, I'm not worried about. The sleeper cell thing, I'll put it to you this way. Do I think that there are intentionally designed terror sleeper cells? We didn't see any of that usually during the global war on terror. Although there were a few, like Al-Qaeda plots. You couldn't really call it sleeper cell. It would be an Al-Qaeda cell, right? Like people who were inspired, there would be like a small set of teams. You have the...
Has he considered incel? We got a lot of incels here. I feel like they're ripe for the picking. They're if Iran is looking for some sleeper cells, I think the incel community is probably where they should look first.
London attacks that happened in '05.
Not to give them any advice.
Times Square plot, some of these other things that happened here in the United States. That's very unlikely. But what did we see a lot of? San Bernardino, a lot of these, what are they like? These so-called
lone wolf inspired by
type.
blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
actually pretty worried about that.
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
I mean, listen, we have tens of millions of people here illegally. We have no idea who most of these people are.
Okay, Sagar.
We don't have no registry or.
Okay, Sagar. Who is the usual demographic of people who are causing like terrorist acts in America? Like, it's straight white men. They're always going up shooting everything. They shoot anything that moves. They love going to crowded, populated areas and just shooting people. Like, that's what our straight white men are bred to do. So this kind of like redirection is a little bit unnecessary. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any, like Muslim people who are inspired to act because of this. I mean, it is incredibly destabilizing, but like, yeah, I think that there's a very specific demographic in America who is known for causing like terror and chaos across our region, and it's not usually Muslims.
Any of that, not to mention a massive Muslim population. It's like, yeah, that's scary. And it couldn't even just be them. It could also be,
Jesus,
who
dude.
knows, far left.
Jesus, Sagar. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Like, I usually like he gets so reactionary sometimes. It comes out of nowhere too, because he's on this panel with like normal people who have normal opinions, and then out of the blue he gets this like super right-wing reactionary takes that I'm just like, Jesus. Like, these are the moments where I'm like, get him off the show. He generally, in my opinion, adds very little, but also he like detracts like crazy when he goes into these like racist ass rants.
Anarchists, far-right people, like, you have no clue.
You also have an FBI that's very interested in creating false, like ginning up terror, radicalizing people themselves, and then setting them off, and so that they can disrupt.
She is so much kinder than I would just have told him to shut the fuck up. Like, I could not sit here and not like say something to him. Like, Sagar, Jesus.
But no, I mean, listen, undocumented immigrants, that's one thing, but you also have plenty of Americans who are going to be disgusted and radicalized.
She's being a lot
by what's
nicer
going
than
on,
I would,
who,
but
are looking at the atrocities abroad. And so it's a very volatile mix. Obviously, we're a population that is chock full of guns and weapons and very violent society to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about the fact that a bunch of these white South Africans that came over here are going back home because they find our society to be too violent and dangerous.
That was a funny story, by the way. Anyway, I think was it Secular Talk maybe had a video about that, but it's the Humanist Report. Go check out his video on it. The South African like white people who were escaping their white genocide in South Africa were like, nah, America sucks. I'm going back to the white genocide. It's so funny.
Dangerous and chaotic.
They're right.
So that is the landscape. And then you add on top of that this disgusting, illegal war of choice where innocent civilians are being slaughtered. And we can see, not only the schoolgirls, we see what happened in Tehran when the Israelis reportedly bombed this oil depot, and you had, a massive ecological disaster, acid rain raining down from the sky, health effects that we can only, scarcely imagine what the reverberations of that have been. Many civilians have been killed. And it creates more risk for us is the bottom line.
Yes.
Okay. I actually got to use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. It shouldn't take long. Okay, there we go. I'm back. I thought I thought my audio got disconnected or something because the voice levels weren't showing up. But okay, let's see here. You know what? I think that was good for all the Iran stuff. What I was gonna move on to next, what should I do first? Let's do this one. I guess I haven't been streaming since I started talking about
Where's Erika?
Since this whole thing happened. So I'm gonna be watching a video about everybody's favorite I forget, like everybody's favorite fake Christian, actually like everybody's favorite assassin, right? The person who killed Charlie Kirk, his wife. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I don't actually believe that Erika Kirk like killed her husband, Charlie Kirk, okay? For the record, I also don't know for sure who did it. We don't know, and we may never know. We'll see what the trial turns for that one dude turns out. But I'm also not against having a little bit of fun, right? When it comes at the expense of the people that I dislike and their misfortunes. So, this is the Economic Times. I can't remember if it's this, if it's the Economic Times or another one. One of them is like owned by like a cult or something, and I think that like is basically just like puts out a bunch of silly, like, I don't know. I'm like almost like the New York Post or whatever, like silly nothing stories that are like very designed to get people to click on it and stuff or whatever. And it worked. It worked with this one. So we're going to talk about this video from the Economic Times. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika Kirk, appointed to Air Force Academy board by Trump in high-profile move. So apparently Erika Kirk, after she got done facilitating the murder of her husband, taking over his job at Turning Points USA, has now moved over to the Air Force. I don't know what she's trying to do there, but I'm sure Candace Owens will have some ideas. Let's see what the Economic Times has to say about
Where's
this.
Erika?
Where is she? See that? Oh, Charlie, I'm so sorry. He's looking up from hell right now, and he's like, I can't believe it.
U.S. President Donald Trump has appointed Erika Kirk, the widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, to the Board of Visitors at the U.S. Air Force Academy. The position places Erika Kirk among 16 members responsible for advising the Secretary of Defense on matters related to the Academy, including curriculum, morale, discipline.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie though. Doing this shit, like putting her in charge of giving like communication to the Air Force or whatever, is really not helping. People think that she's like an asset or something. Like I don't know. I'm a little bit. Like maybe like the people who think she's like working with Israel or whatever. I don't feel like this sort of stuff is helping.
Discipline and institutional policies. Charlie Kirk, the founder of the conservative organization Turning Point USA, had served on the same board before he was assassinated in September last year. He was shot and killed on September 10th during a college event in Orem, Utah. Following his death, Erika Kirk took over as CEO of Turning Point USA. The organization says it now operates more than 800 chapters on college campuses across the United States and has been a major force in conservative youth activism. The Air Force Academy Board of Visitors includes several prominent political figures, including Congressman Jeff Crank of Colorado, Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, and Congressman August...
There's never been somebody more...
Jeff Crank of Colorado. Senator...
There's never been someone more evil with a more funny name than Tommy Tuberville. I don't know why, but his name, it always sticks in my head all the time. And like, I always like, I don't know. I always want to like use it because it's such a fun name. Like Tommy Tuberville is the funnest name. And then it's attached to this cretin, this ghoul. It's such,
Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, and Congressman August Pfluger of Texas, who serves as chairman.
That's a fun name, too.
Erika Kirk's appointment was not formally announced. but her name has recently appeared on the board's official list of members.
Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness, and I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you.
So people have said this before, and I kind of agree with it. She's just worse at this than other people are. Like Republicans are so she is like obviously like monetizing her husband's death and like, you know, gaining prominence and clout from it or whatever. She's a clout chaser, like clout shark kind of person. Lots of Republicans and right wingers do this all the time. She's just not good at it. Like she is unable to, you know, like pretend to be like a human being as good as like the other right wingers who like have made prominent names of themselves in this like media ecosystem. I guess she's just not like as media trained or whatever, but everything she says comes off as fake. Like they're all lizard people, obviously, but like she, like you can kind of see the scales, you know, like she didn't get all that makeup on good enough or whatever, even though there's kind of a lot. Sorry. I'll stop being mean. Her husband died.
Someday, in spirit, and I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful
Thank you.
moment.
Who's Sergio?
Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Well, he was also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie.
Charlie.
And his wife, who we love so much, is here with us. And maybe, you know how close they were together. Maybe, Erika, you could say a couple of words, please.
An honor to, sir.
Let's see. How disrespectful do we think she's going to be? On a scale of 1 to 10, how disrespectful to Charlie's memory do you think they're going to be? Man.
I love you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president.
Is she talking to Charlie right now? Is she talking to his ghost? Like I'm a little confused about what's going on here, to be honest.
Absolutely humbling to witness, and I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit, and I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you.
Is she talking to this guy? Who's she talking to?
And sir, thank you for...
Is she hallucinating someone? Is Sergio in the room with you right now, Erika? Please tell me, do you see him right now? Is there a person here? Who are you talking to?
Allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
And that man's watching.
Is that who she was talking to?
Okay. Any questions?
You mentioned senators that are here, Mr. President. Do you personally approve of the deal that's happening right now on Capitol Hill to end the government
shutdown? Well, it depends what deal we're talking about. But if it's a deal I heard about, that's certainly, you know, they want to change the deal a little bit. But I would say so. I think based on everything I'm hearing, they haven't changed anything. And we have support from jails and from, you know, the gangs and drug. We paid the money to the next short period of time. Syria you had earlier. We have peace now in the Middle East. Ever happening. And, tough place, and he's a tough guy. I liked him. I get along with him. The new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East. First time
that was what I wanted to hear.
That ever happening.
So much peace. Okay, I have to assume that we're done with the Erika Kirk portion of this. To be honest, I thought there was going to be a little bit more information about this. I really did not get anything out of this except for Erika Kirk talking to the ghost of Sergio, who wasn't in the room. I really had no idea. So I was hoping that there would be more information about it in this video. I know there was an article about it that maybe I could take a look at later. I took it off the list because I didn't really think it would matter. But I don't know. Maybe we'll take a look at that later. I was hoping we would get more Erika. I haven't gotten a chance to weigh in as much on on all the Erika Kirk controversy. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more there. But you know what? Let's switch over to. We're gonna do one more fun one here. Well, maybe fun. Okay.
Epstein's brothers examine.
This is from, it says from 1 day ago. I thought it was a little older than that. This is our boy. You love him. We all love him. Too lazy to try. He's going to show us a few more clips about the Rogan sphere. We're going to catch up. We're going to see what's going on over there. I'm sure that, I'm sure Joe Rogan, he's very, very concerned about the goings on in the Middle East, and he's going to ask all of the right questions. And he's going to, let's see, apparently get into a heated debate over the Epstein files with whoever this cockroach who decided to come on his show. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'll like the guy. Sorry, I just kind of assume everybody who goes on Joe Rogan is kind of like, a charlatan, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, too lazy to try. He wouldn't put a charlatan in front of me. I trust this man. I trust him. So let's see what he has to say on Joe Rogan. And this video, Joe Rogan gets into heated debate over the Epstein files.
Epstein's brothers examiner said that that he broke his hyoid bone, and the hyoid bone is not usually broken in hangings, only in strangulations. Actually, it is broken in hangings, particularly for older people.
Broken in 3 places.
Yeah, and that's like,
and it's low on his neck.
Yeah, and that happens.
Also, the lady who was the guard deposited money into her account.
I saw that, but that doesn't. What does that mean?
Okay.
Well,
she also Googled his name before he died.
All that's totally
okay, but
it's like, let me Scooby-Doo
why are you dismissing? I don't understand why you're dismissing this. Because if you're going to
not dismissing it, I'm saying.
But hold on, you are.
Yeah, but Epstein tried to kill himself. I don't think there's any doubt about that, right?
I don't know if there's. I've never seen him say it, but I do know.
Joe's he's coming around. He's coming around. He's ready to talk about Epstein.
Oh, that he said that guy.
It's a couple weeks too late, I feel like, but
I don't know if there's. I've never seen him say it, but I do know that he said that guy tried to kill him, and they found him unresponsive 18 days before. He said that guy tried to kill him.
And couldn't he have lied about that?
That guy was trying to get money.
Couldn't he have lied about that?
All right, so it looks like Joe Rogan finally realized he actually can push back against his guests. For a while it felt like he was on cruise control, and when he was asked about his Kash Patel episode, he even said, "What am I going to do, push back?" But recently he hasn't shied away from arguing with his guests.
Joe, man, I swear, when people get rich, like, they start to look worse and worse. I don't know if this is like an AI photo or what, but it's looking very, very rough here.
Which makes this podcast so much better. Like, some of the best episodes were some of the most
I guess he's looking a little
ones.
better there.
So there is still a little bit of hope for Joe.
Oh my gosh, is that Steven Crowder? Oh, jump scare, man. Young Steven Crowder? Ugh. That was back before he got divorced and lost his $50 million deal with Ben Shapiro's show or whatever.
Especially because now he's also really starting to question Trump's decisions, like attacking Iran. He definitely isn't happy about that. In the beginning of this episode, he was talking about it with his guest, Michael Schellenberger, who was trying to convince Joe that Israel's influence had nothing to do with Trump striking Iran, which is wild. Like, the gaslighting is off the charts here. I mean, we have senators saying Israel made us do it. Marco Rubio basically said Israel got us involved. Trump said Jared Kushner, who's really close with Netanyahu, told him to attack. But Michael Schellenberger thinks Netanyahu doesn't have any influence on Trump. It's incredible.
Look, Netanyahu does have influence on Trump because of all the Epstein shit. However, Trump also, like, this is also the going to war with Iran was a goal of, like, the foreign policy establishment in America for decades as well. So it's not unlike, like, it can be both things at once, right? Like, and it usually is. It's a culmination of all of these things that usually end up pushing people to do the things that they end up doing. But yeah.
But I think Trump is in charge. Like, he's making these decisions. There's nobody behind him. There's nobody pulling for all of that. The Russians or whoever, or these now the Israelis. It's just, he's clearly, I mean, Elon gave him, $250 million, and he didn't give him even the electric car credit, like Trump is in charge, I think that's one of the big lessons from this.
Yeah, but Elon didn't threaten him with blackmail photos of Trump fucking kids. So there is a little bit of a difference there. I think one is a little bit more severe than the other.
It seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even...
Okay, yeah, Joe, okay. Yeah, he ran on that because he's a liar. He was obviously going to go to war. He was obviously going to go into all of these wars. He's just as much a neocon as every other Republican that came before him.
Really clearly defined why we did it.
Well, but he said he's against endless wars.
Well, they're all,
against endless wars.
Listen, man, they're all endless. Did you ever hear Rumsfeld talk about Iraq when it first happened?
Tell me.
They were talking about 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy was just getting cooked in the comments. All the top comments are 5 minutes in, and it's clearly apparent who this person's handler is. Is this guy on Netanyahu's payroll?
Hey, I'm glad the peeps. I'm glad the normies out there, the people, the Joe Rogan heads, they're finally waking up. They're finally coming out of their stupor. They were, they'd been hitting the nitrogen pipes a little too hard, and they're finally waking up, and they're like, oh, wait a second, what's going on here?
Gotten to a point where I don't even trust anyone that comes on here, and I used to trust this guy, but now he sounds like Kash Patel, and maybe they should send someone whose last name doesn't end in Burger or Stein to tell us Trump's making decisions.
Okay, that's rough. We gotta keep that from happening, guys. We gotta stop people associating Israel with the Jewish people, because otherwise you get shit like this. There's a difference, everybody. Israel does not speak for all the Jews, and and it's not a Jewish cabal that's coordinating all of this stuff, okay? My God.
Decisions on his own. So nobody was buying this BS, and Joe wasn't either. He started pressing him a little. And at one point, Michael says, well, they don't have anything on Trump, which is kind of a weird thing to randomly say. And Joe's like, well, how do you know that? So even Joe seems to think that Israel possibly has blackmail on Trump. And Michael says this stuff like it's an absolute fact that Israel isn't influencing him.
I want them to poll it. Somebody needs to poll it. Somebody needs to ask the question to the American people. Do you think our president is a pedophile? I need to know the answer. And to be clear, though, I do think he is, but I also don't think he's the first one. I think a lot of our past presidents have been pedophiles, to be honest, but let's keep going.
And there's no dirt on him, which kind of makes it seem like there are people that told him this, or there are people that want him to say this. But Joe is not going along with it, and he even communicates with Trump and has been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt in most situations. But with this, he is not on board.
Trump is doing what he wants to do, and we should...
You really think it's that simple? Trump's doing what he wants to do. That's it?
Yes.
You don't think people are influencing him? Because there's a lot of war hawks around him,
influencer.
Right? There's a lot of people
like me. I'm an influencer
for a long time.
I mean, Netanyahu's in there, but then Tucker was in there a bunch.
But do you think Tucker has the kind of influence that Netanyahu has?
Well, I mean, I guess if you just base it on the outcome, then the answer is no.
No.
Who is this bozo,
but that's what
dude?
I'm saying. I think he listens to everybody, but I just don't think it's... Russians aren't behind him. Israelis. I mean, Trump is. Look what he's been through. I mean,
and they try to equate the two things all the time, like the Russiagate to this. It's like we see what you're doing. We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to say that was bullshit, so this is bullshit too. But we have all of the evidence now, that it's not bullshit. That Israel does have contraband or compromise, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say on Trump. We saw the Epstein files. We know this to be the case.
He's got where he is. There's no way he's gonna. They don't have anything on him. That's
how
my
do you know
view.
that?
I don't think they have anything on him.
But how do you know
behave
that
way? Well, he could. But...
It's literally all the evidence points to them having something on him, and then you just choose not to believe it. I mean, I get it. Sometimes I choose to believe things just for fun, right? Like the stuff about Erika Kirk. Sometimes I choose to believe that because it's fun, even though I don't actually believe it or whatever. But this guy, he's doing the same thing here. He's just I'm choosing to believe the thing that's not the case or whatever. To what's his end game with that?
We don't see any evidence.
My end game is to have fun. This guy's end game seems to be to protect pedophiles.
For it.
Well, you wouldn't see any evidence until it broke out, until they released it.
Yeah, and well, we'll get. I'm sure we'll get into Epstein, but I mean, I just think when you don't have evidence of something, then you can't assume that it's happening. I haven't seen
all the evidence points to it, though.
Any evidence.
You have it backwards.
That Trump is fully independent. With it, particularly this case of Elon, surprised me. I would have thought at a minimum you'd give your largest campaign contributor the one thing he wants.
It's different.
So Trump might have to give Joe a call and get him in line, or maybe Trump can make another Truth Social post about Joe. That'd be hilarious.
We'll see.
So shit really hit the fan towards the end of the episode when they started talking about Epstein. This guy, it seemed like, was trying to do damage control over it, and Joe was not having it. He was getting really frustrated with him because he was trying to downplay like every aspect of it. You know, Epstein's death, the files, his ties to intelligence, and how much the people who still hung around him after he's first arrested knew about him. And he compared this to the Me Too movement, and he said he's disappointed about all the innocent people who are getting caught up in this.
They're doing that a lot too lately, where they're pretending like the Me Too movement was some like witch hunt or whatever. Like they're rewriting the legacy of it after the fact or whatever, when all of the people who got Me Too'd are basically free now. Like I have an article over here about Bill Cosby, like, you know, like they're like, not that much happened to most people in the Me Too that got like quote unquote Me Too'd or whatever. And now they're just trying to rewrite it as some like, you know, male witch hunt or whatever. I don't like that shit. They gotta cut that shit out.
Description where he was talking to this woman where she said, I'm investigating a story about an island where they bring children for sex. And he goes, she almost had a heart attack when I told her that person is me.
Well, he was talking about the rumors and gossip about him, but he wasn't saying that he's bringing children to his island for sex.
But that is what he said. But if you look at the
text,
he
said they're talking about me.
No. She said,
why is he defending Epstein?
On a guy who brings children to his island for sex, and he says, she almost had a heart attack when I told her that person is me.
The person that my
you're
interpretation
being charitable.
Of it, I'm not. Well,
but you're being charitable because that's not what the text says.
Look. Let's back up to the intelligence.
But wait a minute. Why would you dismiss that?
We can pull it up and look at it. I just think. I think what we see from
Joe Rogan, I'm sorry, I can't help it. He sounds like a baby when he talks. Like the cadence that he has, the speed at which he talks, he sounds like a baby. Like, what? Why would you dismiss that? Why? But why? Like I cannot take it.
in the files. And I think Mike Benz has sort of pointed out the ways in which Epstein might have been a contractor or a financier or somebody hiding money for the intelligence community. Beyond that, I don't see any evidence that he was doing much for the intelligence community, if at all.
But you're only getting emails, and only half of the email. Why would you redact the name of the person who sent you a torture video if you're not trying to protect a powerful person?
Yeah, that's the Sultan, is that right?
Okay, but someone had to just figure that out.
I mean, look, the redactions are sloppy.
But that's, no. That's evidence that you're trying to protect a powerful person.
Well, but they didn't, though, in a lot of cases.
But
right?
Yeah, but you don't even need like evidence of that. We know that they do this already. Like this is just the nature of like power. Like everybody understands this. Everybody understands that the rich can do whatever the fuck they want, and that poor people, like, you sneeze wrong and you go to jail. Like it's not some like secret. Like these people, they always like try to pretend like this, like we don't already know that this exists. This is just an extension of what we already know, and it takes a lot more to like try to pretend that it's the other, like that it doesn't exist, than in this particular case or whatever, when it exists everywhere else in society.
Did right there.
Yeah, I mean the redactions. I mean, they were making them. I mean, it was like,
but
my
they
understanding is
redacted
that
a lot
there was
of powerful people's names.
Yeah, but I mean, look at, like, we're in the midst. I mean, literally, the people that are being canceled for this, like Peter Attia, these people are like victims of we're in the middle of a complete, moral panic. I mean, it's like Me Too version 2. I mean, people are having to leave boards. I mean,
what?
Okay, but a lot of these people
right now, what is he talking about? It has never been a better time to be a rapist in America. Like you can get away with like everything right now. Like the reactionaries, the right wing, the patriarchal like stupids have all ascended into the realms of power. Like this is literally the best time it has ever been in America to be a rapist. Like I don't understand what this person is trying to say.
We're hanging out with him and doing business with him after he was arrested. So this is all
okay.
post 2008, and it was very public.
Okay, but okay. So then, what is our view of people that do the crime and serve the time? I mean, the left view has been.
Let's hear. What do you think he thinks the left view is? What do we think the left view of do the crime, pay the time? I bet he thinks the left wants to let every criminal off the hook 100% no matter what they did. That's what I'm guessing he thinks, the left thinks.
Right there. He didn't serve any time. Do you know
he served a year?
Okay. He did
are we not going to hear
jail for a year? You know, he did house arrest.
Yes.
It was a very sweetheart deal.
And Joe didn't bring this up, but he should have mentioned.
I don't even get to hear his answer. I'm sure that was it. We can just assume that was it because that's what they always fucking say.
And how he turned down a meeting with Epstein because of his first arrest. You know, like a podcaster realized Epstein was sketchy as hell and didn't want anything to do with him, but all these billionaire businessmen and politicians were gladly meeting with him, and they definitely knew about his first arrest. But then, of course, once Epstein got busted again, then they had to lie about their connection to him and downplay it. Like Joe's buddy, Elon Musk, who's trying to get to the island. I mean, if Michael really wanted to make Joe uncomfortable and win this argument, he should have brought up Elon, because then Joe would probably have to make some excuse for him. And also, Peter Thiel lied about his connection to Epstein. You know, he initially said he was just getting tax advice and he didn't know Epstein. But
Peter Thiel, stop controlling my computer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I offended you by making my grossed out sounds whenever you came on my screen, but I can't help it. It's involuntary. I look at this face and I get just viscerally grossed out. You don't have to control my computer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Peter Thiel, you can please let me continue to watch this video.
Quite a bit, and he took an investment from Epstein, which is weird. You know, somebody who's already worth billions of dollars needs $40 million from a sex offender. That's kind of strange. Like, you'd think if you're at that level, why would you want to associate with someone like that? So hopefully when Rogan has on Elon again, he asks him about Epstein.
I don't mean to be one of those guys, but I think I see a little bit of gyno going on this. Elon, dude, you gotta hit the gym. I'm sorry. Your body was not built to not go to the gym. Like, you gotta go to the gym, dude. I'm so sorry.
Because what did Elon think those parties were like? Obviously, he heard that Epstein threw wild parties if he was asking about them, but I doubt Joe would push back this much against Elon. It seems like he only argues with people who aren't as important. I mean, Joe loves being friends with Elon, and obviously he's the richest man, so I don't think he'd want to burn that bridge. So also Joe and Michael, they started arguing about Epstein's death.
And even this last few days, there's some new things that people point to, but they actually are not actually evidence of it. They said, you know, Epstein's brother's attorney or Epstein's brother's examiner said that he broke his hyoid bone, and the hyoid bone is not usually broken in hangings, only in strangulations. Actually, it is broken in hangings, particularly for older people.
We got a doctor.
And that's like,
and it's low.
We got a doctor in the house.
Yeah, and that happens.
Also, the lady who was the guard deposited money into her account.
I saw that, but that doesn't.
I mean, I think that anybody with half a brain at this point understands, like, it's more likely than not that he was killed, like, by the state. Like, if you think otherwise, you are literally bending over backwards to try to make it work. Like, all of the circumstantial evidence, like how sketchy everyone was about it, like, just every single indicator points to it being like him being killed by someone. And if you don't buy that, you are literally like, you're trying to do the opposite of Occam's razor. Like, Occam's razor is that, like, somebody killed him. You're going against Occam's razor to trying to find some way that it didn't happen. Like,
what does that mean?
Okay, well,
I mean,
she also Googled his name before he died.
All that's totally
okay, but
it's like, let me Scooby-Doo
why are you dismissing? I don't understand why you're dismissing this. Because if you're
I'm
going
not
to
dismissing it. I'm saying,
but hold on, you are.
Yeah.
But hold on, you are, because if you do have a guard, and all of a sudden this guard acquires several payments.
One day, Joe, one day you're gonna have me on, and I'll explain everything to you. I'll explain the entire world to you. I'll blow your freaking brain, dude. You will come out a changed man. You will be a left-wing communist, like Maoist third worldist. You will be like, I hate the government. I'm giving up all of my money to people in need. Like, someday, Joe, I'm gonna get in there and I'm going to I'm gonna start controlling you like your handlers. I'm gonna brainworm you with my communist sympathies or whatever.
Several deposits. One of them was $5,000.
Imagining a commie Joe Rogan is kind of hilarious. I don't know who that would be. Is there anybody we can think of who's like a commie Joe Rogan? I can't think of an equivalent, but we'll turn this one into him if we have to.
It was just 10 days before he died. And then the cameras are cut, okay? And then they mysteriously don't pay attention to the cell of one of the most important defendants of any case, any gigantic public case involving...
Okay, so then we agree we don't know.
Yes, but you're dismissing these major factors of him being in a cell with a contract killer, him saying 18 days before the guy tried to kill him, them finding him unresponsive, that someone tried to strangle him 18 days before.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just you can make a case either way. Is my point. You can make the case that he was murdered.
You certainly can, but at a certain point in time, when enough circumstantial evidence that's fucking weird, like the cameras being down, the guards being asleep.
But the cameras were down. I think don't quote me on exactly, but they weren't down like that day before or something. They were down for a while before, and the security guards fall asleep all the time.
Epstein told the officers that Taglione, cellmate, had tried to kill him, and that had been harassing him. Taglione claimed he had been asleep and woke up to see Epstein with a string around his neck.
Right.
Does that make fucking sense?
Well, yeah, actually, but Joe, just to... So
he said you want to tried to kill him.
And if Epstein... And the result of this is that Epstein...
Didn't they also put him literally put Epstein in a cell with like one of the most violent criminals, or like maybe the most violent criminals at that location, who like was notorious for like killing pedophiles or something? Like... It's like, what are we doing? Like, this guy just has to live in a fantasy world if he truly believes that, like, that Epstein wasn't killed, dude.
Epstein doesn't have a cellmate, right? So Epstein doesn't want to have if you want to kill yourself, you don't want a cellmate. So you can interpret the same set of the same amount.
Yeah, and if you want him killed, you put him next to a person who is notorious for killing pedophiles.
If you want to got a guy to go back and finish the job, you shut the cameras off and you open the cell and you let this guy kill him.
But they shut the cameras off when they shut the cameras off, though.
It doesn't matter. There's no.
It does matter.
There's no video
because the machine.
This is how these like fake argument type people always do it though. They keep pulling. They keep trying to find like they keep saying like, oh well, what about this, or oh what about this, and then at some point the other person gets exasperated and just says, dude, that doesn't matter or whatever, and then they're like, I got him. And then they're like, but it does matter actually, and here's why. And then they just keep like harping on that one point that you said doesn't matter or whatever until they're like, oh yeah, I totally won the argument. Like these people are so annoying, dude.
The video that's there has been edited.
It's debate
the
lordship.
They show of the outside of the cell, a minute's missing from it.
I mean, there was a huge investigation of this by the Inspector General. So the number of people that would have had to been involved in this conspiracy and cover-up is very large, and it's a large number of people who are in this job to be do-gooders. And so maybe there will...
Okay.
So this job to be do-gooders? First of all, what job are they talking about? Like corrections officers? Yeah, notoriously good people, corrections officers, or like, jail attendants or whatever. Like, or like, are they talking about the government? Like, I don't even know who he's saying they think is supposed to be a do-gooder.
Right,
some evidence that will
they're not in the job to be.
Oh yeah, they are.
Sometimes they're in the job to be do-gooders. Sometimes they're influenced by very powerful figures that want a particular result.
Okay, whatever. I'm done with this guy. He's making me too mad. Let's see. I thought next I would move on to maybe some articles. I got a few here. Let's see. I do kind of want to know more about the Erika Kirk thing, but since we watched the video, I don't want to do two of the same thing in one day. Let's get into the Democratic Party's super unpopularity. I'm sure this is the case. As someone who the Democratic Party is supposed to represent, I fucking hate them. So, but let's see. Shock poll. Democratic Party, super unpopular. Voters hate Kamala, Newsom, AI, Iran. every single one of these are not shocking whatsoever. I feel, yeah, everyone I talk to feels the exact same way about this. Like, yeah, the Democrats suck, Kamala sucks, Newsom sucks, AI sucks, Iran sucks. Like, going to war with Iran sucks is what I mean. So let's see what the Hill, God, okay. Let's bash our heads against the wall for a second and read an article by the Hill. The Democratic Party has a huge image problem, according to a new poll from NBC News. The party and its most likely 2028 presidential candidates are toxically unpopular with voters. This poll caught my attention and the attention of a lot of people on social media because it suggested that AI is becoming unpopular. Social media noticed that AI was 20 points underwater. Yeah, that's pretty unpopular, making it even less popular than ICE, which was minus 18 on favorability. Yeah, okay. See, I knew ICE was like super unfavorable. I guesstimated that stat last time. I think I was pretty close. Now, this was a survey of 1,000 registered voters over the telephone and via text message, and it has an error margin of 3 points. So do take all of this with a grain of salt, plus or minus 3 points. They just gave the error margin. So even so, it's striking to me that the Democratic Party as an institution was even more unpopular than ICE and AI! Exclamation point. That's not shocking to me at all. The Democrats suck. The only thing that polled worse as a concept was Iran. The general concept of Iran pulled terribly. I assume they mean war with Iran, but the nation we're currently at war with, in a military action situation. Okay, I hate when articles do this. They try to be funny. They try to be funny like me when I try to write it. And it reminds me of my terrible writing, and I get mad at myself, and then I get mad at them. Okay. Not a war. Don't call it a war. Whatever you do. Yeah, this is totally how I'm being serious. This is exactly how I would write a sentence like this, and it's annoying me to hear somebody else do it. Let's see. And the likely Dem candidates fared little better. Kamala Harris is at minus 17 points, and Gavin Newsom is at minus 18. AOC is comparatively popular at minus 11. That compared with minus 11 for JD Vance and minus 7 for Marco Rubio. Yeah, I mean, so Kamala Harris sucks, Gavin Newsom sucks. AOC is okay. Like, she's better than the other ones. She could still be better than she is and do better than she is if she was a little better at messaging or whatever. But yeah, I'd be curious how they would also compare to like Bernie Sanders or whatever. I know that he's like old and not running, but I would be curious how he would compare in numbers. Harris, by the way, is reportedly undecided on whether she's running for president again, but she's definitely keeping her options open. I really hope to God she doesn't. She's a loser. She smells like a loser. Nobody's going to vote for her because she's a loser. Democrats notoriously don't like having losers on their ticket. So I really hope she doesn't run. It would be an embarrassment, in my opinion. But just for her sake, like, oh, not that I'm a fan of her. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris for anybody watching this. A long profile of her in Politico notes that Harris is taking some steps towards a run, but still won't commit either way. Meanwhile, the desire for her is practically non-existent from the Democratic base. No one is demanding that she be foisted on them again. Exactly. She was literally anointed to us as our person that we must vote for, and then she threw it all away instantaneously by continuing to support Biden's genocide in Gaza. So yeah, fuck her. And her most recent foray into politics was a last-minute endorsement of Jasmine Crockett. Bad call. In the Texas Senate primary, Crockett was decisively beaten by James Tallarico, who is now the Dem nominee. Not a weighing tactic for Kamala. And there's a reason that she did that. Jasmine Crockett is more aligned with the establishment Democrats than Tallarico in terms of her policy positions. She is a like firebrand or whatever, and she is a very good speaker, but her policies are very much neoliberal, just like conservative Democrat shit. James Tallarico, while we don't know for sure how he's going to actually govern, portrayed himself as a left populist who was more like aligned with, I guess, the Bernie wing of the party, and that's why he won. He was the more electable candidate, and he has a better chance in the actual general than Jasmine Crockett would have. So, like, it's no surprise to me that someone with like Kamala, who has the like potentially the worst political instincts of any presidential nominee that has ever existed in the history of America would choose to side with Jasmine Crockett. At the very least, she should have just stayed out of it. She's just showing how bad she is at this. So anyway, not a winning tactic for Kamala Harris. Even so, Harris got a favorable shout out from a potential 2028 rival, Newsom, gruesome Newsom, who wrote on X, "This wouldn't have happened under her watch." Wait, what? Got a favorable shout out from a potential. What's he talking about? This wouldn't have happened under her watch. Is he talking about like Iran? I mean, personally, I think it would have happened either way. I think Israel was going to do this shit and we were going to get dragged in regardless. But I guess that's what he's talking about, but I'd have to see the tweet. Presumably, I should just read the next sentence, I guess. Presumably, he's talking about the events in Iran. And it's true that Harris indicated she would have opposed this sort of action, even though the Trump campaign, particularly Vance, implied that it would be Harris, not Trump, who would take the nation to war with Iran. So much for that. Okay, so much for that. But also, she portrayed herself as having the most lethal military. She portrayed herself as being a warmonger. She chose to do that. She palled around with Liz Cheney. You can't be mad at people, at the voting populace, for seeing what Kamala Harris was saying and then believing it. When she completely conceded the anti-war position to Trump and Vance, she shouldn't have done that. I don't know why she did that. That was a stupid mistake by her. Yeah, so much for that. This must be a lib who wrote this. It's just kind of rare on the Hill. The Hill is usually a pretty Republican coded, but polls like this one from NBC show that no matter how many questionable policies the Trump administration pursues, no matter how many openings they create for Dems by, let's say, hugely increasing the price of gas, the Democratic Party remains toxically unpopular. Americans don't love everything Trump does, but they're really, really not sure they can trust the Democrats to govern ever again. Yeah, I mean, that's because the Democratic Party doesn't stand for anything at all. They used to have a somewhat working class base way back in the day. They decided to get rid of that entirely so that they could focus solely on suburban small business tyrants or whatever. They basically threw away their entire brand. And then the only thing that they had left at that point, because they can't lean into any sort of left-wing populism, because that would oppose their billionaire donors and stuff. The only thing that they could lean into at that point is identity politics. And then they would focus entirely on identity without any substance for any actual policies that would improve the material conditions of the working class. And so until they decide to change that, that's kind of why they're just sitting around not doing anything, to be honest. They're sitting around just letting the Republican Party collapse, essentially, instead of being out there actively trying to win people over to their side. It's because they don't want to win if it means actually being pro-working class. And that's why we need candidates like Tallarico and various others to come in and demolish the Democratic Party, destroy it, throw it, bury it 6 feet under, and then rebuild something better on top of it. And it has to start with working class politics, and it has to you can't just do identity. It can't be just identity politics without actual working class policies that will improve the material conditions of everybody. That doesn't mean throw identities under the bus or whatever. That doesn't mean throw trans people under the bus like they're currently doing. Support them all the way, every day, 24/7, full-throated support for every minority, every identity. But you also have to provide material uplifting support to the people that you're trying to represent. Otherwise, it just comes across as phony and fake, which is what the problem with the Democratic Party has been. So yeah. Anyway, that was a little bit of a fun one, I think. I love shitting on the Democratic Party. I think people I always wonder what the average American thinks of me. Like if they ever come across my videos, like do they even understand what my policy, like what my positions are? Because like I'm so far outside of the realm of like what most Americans know about politics in terms of being like, you know, anti-capitalist leftist or whatever that like because sometimes I think the shit that I say sounds based to Republicans too, because I shit on the Democrats so hard and because I, you know, hate billionaires and hate, you know, elites and all that shit. But I am kind of curious. Okay, let's see. So I think I wanted to maybe read one more before my voice gives out. I still have not figured it out. Um, I kind of, it's fine. I still haven't quite figured out how to speak in a way that doesn't make my voice inevitably end up giving out, but okay. Um, let's see. So I think that this one was the other one I think I'm gonna read. This is a New York Post article. They're some of the funniest, honestly. Like some of my favorite, like right-wing reactionary type of shit. Like to read, I love it. Like I don't know. So I am curious. We'll see what they have to say about China. So this is Don't Buy the Green China Hype. Here's Beijing's Real Energy Agenda by Bjorn Lomberg. Sounds a little German. Ooh, I can already tell by the paragraph structure of this that this is going to be a fun article. Let me see how long it is real quick. That's not too bad. Okay. Many in the West gaze in awe at China's apparent dominance in green energy. China is becoming a green superpower, read a BBC headline last month. China's green triumph, trumpeted the New York Times. China is indeed churning out solar panels. Oh, this is not a quote this time. China is indeed churning out solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles, and batteries that flood global markets, proof advocates say of an inevitable green transition. Yet these supposed marvels are forged amid overwhelming and surging use of fossil fuels, particularly coal. Uh-oh. They're building green energy with coal, everybody. Oh no. Its real energy achievements, dramatic energy ramp-ups to fuel prosperity and advances in nuclear power, remain overlooked. In 2025, as the world invested $2.3 trillion in green energy, more than a third of that investment, $800 billion, came from China, nearly matching the US and the EU combined. But spending isn't the best measure of investment quality. After China's real estate bubble went bust in 2020, it was busted. Capital flowed into the solar panel industry, and the sudden influx created vast overproduction and overcapacity. Just an FYI. Everybody loves to talk about China's housing, like real estate bubbles, their various, like, you know, market manipulations and stuff or whatever. Always take all of that with a grain of salt. Usually what's happening is they're just reading it from an American capitalist perspective as opposed to like a state capitalist perspective like China, who like, for instance, will build an entire city out without anybody even coming to live there yet or whatever. Uh, and then like subsidizing a bunch of shit so that like people then come and live in the city, and then it's like the property values change in like a certain direction that is abnormal in the realm of capitalism but is not abnormal in the realm of like state capitalism like China. So it's usually just a misunderstanding of how their economy works as compared to ours. So let's see. Chinese solar production capacity is now more than twice the global market, and every segment of its solar supply chain suffered losses in 2024, with margins often at minus 20% or lower, according to the International Energy Agency. Yeah, they often take a loss initially on their in order to get complete dominance over the market. It's something that, you know, maybe America should try sometime. More than 40, but that involves not making a profit. So America is not never going to do that, which is why they will never be able to compete with China. More than 40 companies have gone bankrupt, and the industry has slashed a third of its workforce. crucially, China's solar panel production depends on coal. Every one of its silicon smelters requires its own coal-fired power station. This is just classic. This is classic, like or like yelling about how green energy it actually needs coal to be able to make like produce the stuff necessary for it or whatever, which is just in general a silly argument. um, like obviously to create more efficient things you have to start with the less efficient things. Like that's just the way, I don't know, like really just like general human history and technology has worked. Like you don't use like, I don't know, like you build your way up on previous technology until you finally get to the newer technology. So that's just kind of like a silly argument to me. Um, Investment is now pouring into electric cars, and as automaking becomes an economic pillar for local governments once reliant on land sales and real estate taxes, the auto industry and related services now account for 1/10 of China's GDP. Damn, 10%? Man, BYD is crushing it. I would love to have a BYD uh, car over here. Unfortunately, we have like 100% tariffs on them, so I'll probably never see one. Overcapacity is staggering. Only 15 of China's current 129 EV brands will be viable by 2030, according to one estimate. Okay, this is exactly what I just said. Their goals are different than a capitalist goals. Like they're trying to corner and dominate the market, and like that's what they're doing. And so and this idea of viability only makes sense in a capitalist like framework. If you are not a capitalist country, then like the goals of the state outweigh the goals of the companies themselves. So like this is just a silly thing. And overcapacity is something that we've heard for like ever. Oh yeah, EVs. We're talking about EV here. um, China wants to minimize its dependence on imported oil, so its consumers buy nearly 2/3 of all EVs sold globally, pushed by Beijing and lured by rock-bottom prices due to surplus production. Yet EV battery packs are manufactured using coal energy, blah blah blah, and charged on coal. Yeah, okay. Of course, no shit. Nor do EVs themselves help with air pollution. One study found they reduced nitrogen oxide. Like, I really don't even understand what this is for. Like, I think we're kind of we're almost, I think, past the age of like hysteria against green energy, I feel like. And primarily I think it is because China has just proven that it's like, a viable industry even as America tries to like destroy it or whatever. And so like maybe there's still some America like chud brain people who like get an aneurysm whenever they hear the term EV, but like I think that realistically now it's like people just see it as an alternative, like an alternative form of energy, even in America. And like most people do see it as like the future of energy, but it's not something, I think that like they're like people just aren't like zealots about it anymore, if I had to guess. So I don't really know who this article is for, to be honest, but apparently it's for me, as I hate read it. While China added unprecedented solar and wind capacity in 2025, it also planned an unprecedented number of new coal power plants. China remains the world's top coal consumer, with fossil fuels supplying over 87% of its primary energy. Renewable share was 40% in 1971 when China was poor, but plummeted to, as they industrialized, and has risen slowly over the next 13 years to just over 10% in 2024. On this trajectory, a full transition to green energy would take 4 centuries. And like, I don't even think people are talking about full transitions. Like they're just, let's get those numbers up. It's always good to get those numbers. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I think that my headset must have ran out of batteries or something. Um, On this trajectory, a full transition to green energy would take 4 centuries. Hey, we'll see. We'll see in 4 centuries. So while the vision of China as a renewable superpower is mostly eco-propaganda, eco-propaganda. Wow. I wonder what like billionaire is funding that propaganda effort. We should heed 2 lessons from Beijing's energy policies. First, China has dramatically scaled up energy use and has grown rich in the process. Yep. I mean, they have. Their ability to produce energy is unrivaled across the world. America could only ever dream of being able to create energy at the rates that China has. The West, especially Europe, should abandon its self-imposed energy restrictions and follow suit. See, that's where they're a little bit wrong. Yes, China uses a lot of coal and has used a lot of coal in order to scale up a lot of their green energy stuff. And yes, China does use its green energy as a form of like propaganda or as a form of like making their country look better or whatever. Like that's just something all countries do. But I think that they're kind of ignoring the real thing that's happening is China was behind the West technologically and when it came to energy before. They built up to be further along the process than the West, and now they're starting to build up their green energy to the same level, if not higher in some cases, to hope. And I think that they're just thinking of it more in terms of like efficiency or whatever, as opposed to some like, good versus evil battle between the good coal versus the evil electric or whatever. Like, I think they're just seeing them as 2 sides of the same coin that, and they're thinking, oh, well, I think green energy might be a little bit more efficient, so we'll try and get as much of that. And yes, it'll help the environment as they're, they also have guidelines for what they're trying to reach in terms of their environment as well. So, so I think we're really just kind of falling behind at this point. I think that's the thing that's making them a little bit butthurt as well. So what they say is the West, especially Europe, should abandon its self-imposed energy restrictions and follow suit. You can't. You can't. You're not going to be capable of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news to the West. It seems like I have to do this a lot. You're not going to be able to catch up to China. And there's one reason. There is just one reason that you will never be able to catch up to China. China is a state capitalist country, and all of the West, including Europe, are all just capitalist countries. The capitalist countries are incapable of making plans in the same way that China does and following through with them in the same way that China does. Everyone in the West can only think in terms of quarters, in terms of profitability. China doesn't, and that's why they're able. They even say it here, and has grown rich in the process. That is why they are able to do these things. That is why they are able to outcompete us, and that is why they have surpassed us in a lot of these things, especially like energy production, both coal and green. So this is not going to be possible unless America and these Western countries become state capitalist countries like China, and that's never going to happen. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe someday. I hope so. Honestly, it's the transitional period into socialism is what state capitalism is. So I'm all for getting there, and I don't know. Maybe in my lifetime we'll see it, but who knows? Right now we certainly aren't. Consider fracking. Heavily restricted or banned across Europe and in many U.S. states, it has helped boost Chinese shale gas output by roughly 20% a year since 2017, putting China on track to become the world's 3rd largest gas producer and making it more resilient than other Asian economies amid price spikes from the Iran war. Yeah, this is also like they're complaining about the West's inability to produce things and then blaming it on like, I don't know, like Code Pink or like some like eco-feminist like people or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really just the West is not able to compete with China, but they're trying to find a scapegoat for why that's the case. And it's not because a bunch of, long-haired hippies went out there and protested like an oil pipeline or something. Like, that's not what's stopping America from being able to compete with China. It is straight up just because America is incapable of doing it under its mode of production that it currently operates under. Second, Sorry, give me one sec. Second, China is surging ahead in technologies that could truly decarbonize the planet at scale. Nuclear fission and fusion. They all got boners for that. I don't know why. I don't know why they think that's so much different than like green energy. It really makes literally no sense to me. Why these people who hate green energy with a passion, like these coal people, are so obsessed with like nuclear fusion, which is essentially just solar energy, but at like the micro level or whatever, or like and or I guess fission would be that, but um, in the West, traditional nuclear has grown prohibitively expensive, with U.S. construction costs tripling since the mid 1980s. That's capitalism, baby. The U.S. has built only 3 new nuclear plants this century at enormous cost and with 11-year timelines. That's capitalism, baby. Contrast this with China, where reactors are completed in 5 years and costs have halved since 2000. That's state capitalism, baby. China has expanded from 3 reactors in 2000 to 60 today, with 37 under construction, nearly half the global total, 42 planned and 146 proposed. Yeah, China just has a more efficient system of government. Like, you're not able to compete with that. I'm sorry. Nothing you can do will change that, unless you actually turn America into a state capitalist country. 4th generation reactors, often small and modular, are designed for efficiency, affordability, minimal long-lived radioactive waste, and inherent safety. And China leads the United States in this technology by an estimated 10 to 15 years. That'll just keep growing. The world's first such reactor began operating in China over 2 years ago, and China is deploying all 6 of the 4th generation reactor types. On fusion, China dominates patents and has allocated more resources than all other countries. This isn't renewable redux. It's a race for abundant energy. And the West risks awakening to a world powered by Beijing's reactors, not its own ingenuity. Green China is a sham, but it's time for the West to emulate Beijing's real playbook by ramping up energy use and investing in nuclear R&D. Good luck, the West. I do not have faith. Change your mode of production, get rid of capitalism, and then maybe you'll have a chance. Okay, let's see here. I'm done with that. Done with that. I am just going to scroll around on X for a second, and then I am going to get out of here. I don't want to see that. Sorry. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Abdul Al Said. So this is okay. So this is in Michigan. Abdul Al Said, he is I think he's like a doctor or something. I've seen him a couple times on Hassan's show. I don't know literally anything about the other two, but everybody I know that I like wants people to vote for him, so I trust that he's better than these other two. So if you live out in Michigan, go out and vote for him. Yeah, of course. The mainstream position of Republicans now is extreme racism and scapegoating of all Muslims. This is Nazi ideology. Yeah, that's oh, I think I might have commented on one of these. Yeah, they're sitting on rugs. Ramadan, they're Musliming up the Gracie mansion. How could they? How could they turn it all Muslim? I think the comment that I made was like, let the let the woke Sharia caliphate slowly engulf the entire nation, and I did some prayer hands. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if this is a real photo, but apparently on one of the missiles they wrote, on one of the Iranian missiles that they're sending over to either Israel, America, or one of the Gulf states, they said, vaccine for pedophiles, hashtag made in Iran. See, usually I'm not a fan of writing anything on missiles. I think it's like atrocious. Like whenever like I've seen Jerry Seinfeld and shit go out there and that the lead singer of Disturbed or whatever go out and like sign bombs that literally blew up children in Gaza, and that's like atrocious. Like they should be thrown in jail for doing that. But this one's kind of funny, and their war is defensive. So you know what? I can't I can't knock them too hard. Yeah. BB no money. Holding up the trans rights flag, being an ally. Hell yeah, brother. Uh-oh. Representative, wait, is this Republican or I don't know. Representative Anna Pauline Luna, attention pedophiles. Now, according to our new state law in Florida, if you rape a child, you will be put to death. Keep your hands off our children. Thank you to the Florida legislator and Governor Ron DeSantis for getting this done. Someone said, excellent, start here, Mar-a-Lago. You'll find a notorious pedo at this location. You're welcome for the tip. That's a great tip. Yeah, BB No Money. There's a BB No Money sighting on my X feed. Being an ally. Let's see what Hassan has to say. American imperialism is a paper tiger, and now the whole world knows. We must retreat from endless military incursions, focus on diplomacy while rebuilding our country, and allow nations in the periphery to have dignity and sovereignty immediately. Completely agree. I don't think America is going to do that, but eventually they'll be forced to do that as we enter our century of humiliation, which I have a feeling is coming up pretty soon here. Grown-ass MAGA men will get on their knees and salivate to touch Trump, then act like Zoran using a prayer mat is weird. This is Adam Mogler. I saw his conversation with Hassan. It was frustrating, to say the least. Representative AOC, I'm devastated by the anti-Semitic attack at one of our nation's largest Reform synagogues. My heart is with the entire Temple Israel congregation. Anti-Semitism has no place in our country. We owe it to our Jewish siblings to stamp it out and ensure they can worship without fear. Yeah, I don't know anything about this attack. I'd have to read more about it to know what's going on. What I do know is that all the psychotic Zionists are not doing. They're not helping when it comes to anti-Semitism in this country. We got to stop the root cause of a lot of this new wave of anti-Semitism, and that is Israel. Israel associating every Jew with genocide is not helping. Let's see. Let's see what this is.
It just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed.
We already saw this clip. I assume this is a joke. But it says, breaking, Ethan Klein moves H3 podcast headquarters underneath LA Children's Hospital. Yikers. I don't know what that is. Let's see what Ryan Grimm says. The man who rammed his explosive-laden truck into a Michigan synagogue today was named Amon Ghazala. According to a source familiar with the situation, Ghazala posted photos overnight of his family members, including young children, who were killed in a recent Israeli attack on the town of Mashgara, Lebanon. Okay, I know this is new information, so we should take it all with a grain of salt, but what did I just say? Literally 5 minutes ago. Israel committing all of these crimes in the name of Jews. What did I just say? Like, we got to stop that shit from happening because, yeah, okay. It's leading to some terrible things. Like, obviously, that's atrocious what he did, like what this man did. However, like, we can't deny reality that, like, if you kill a person's entire family, that they might get a little bit pissed off about that, you know? But I don't know. We'll see if this is all true. I trust Ryan Grimm and Dropsite pretty heavily not to post shit too early. But they do say it's a developing story. Hell yeah. This girl was on Jinx Monsoon, I guess, was on Fear and recently. I watched some of it. She actually seemed pretty funny. I liked her. Her vibe, like the way that she talked and stuff, was very fun to listen to. Bernie Sanders. Want to know why Congress is doing nothing on AI? AI oligarchs have already spent over $185 million buying politicians this year. There it is. It's no more complicated than that. I agree. It is very simple. If only the simpletons could understand the very simple. We already went over that story. Yeah. Of course. Ugh. Okay. Sam, wait. Oh, let's just listen to it.
I honestly think Iran is much less likely to blow back on us the way Iraq and Afghanistan did. I just think a majority of the people are in a different spot with their desperation to be
totally.
rid of theocracy, right? It's a much more sophisticated culture.
It'll be so easy.
It's been oppressed for now more than a generation. You can't say that about Afghanistan, right? You can't even say that about Iraq.
Yeah, it'll be so easy. The easiest war that has ever existed. The current war that we're about to go into, for some reason, is always seems to be the easiest one. No matter the actual differences in like how many people live there, how many missiles they have, how well developed they are. You know, let's see this meme by Secular Talk. Endless war? Let me get out my wallet. How will we afford it? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see. Universal healthcare, free school lunches, climate policy, affordable housing, education, universal childcare. How will we afford it? Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, Adam Friedland talked to Mark Cuban. I guess I'll have to. Let's see what happened here.
Yeah. I got some pictures of this goddamn it was chaos over there
at
that
man, it was
bar.
great.
It does, with some of the faces are blacked out. It does kind of look like it's for the MC.
The reason so much of it is blacked out is one of the guys, Bob Constantine, he was the one that always liked to get naked. You know, there's always a couple of rugby players that parties. Went to Africa to
vaccines
to deal with malaria, right? To save people from
really
and build nets and everything for people, and then he died of malaria. And so this was like a month before all this shit came out, and I'm like, look, you got me right. There's nothing I can do. You're going to post everything. Do me a favor, let me annotate him. Right, you don't want to just fuck with this guy and show his naked pictures of him after he just died being a great citizen.
But he had a nice one. If he had a nice one, maybe we can remember.
His nickname was Teeny Constantini.
No. You're a good man. He's literally a good man. Is that why you started Micro Solutions?
No.
Is that why you started?
That's the best line ever. The best line ever heard.
Did you ever find the solution?
I hate how personable Mark Cuban is for a billionaire. He really makes me have a hard time sometimes hating him.
Yeah, I did find the solution.
Because I heard that you can increase the girth, but the length never.
He's very personable. Ugh. Come on. Stop it. I guess in Georgia, that would be a funny sign to run by. I can't, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Graduating in Gaza. Love it. God, sorry. Okay. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm done. I gotta be done. Yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done rotting my brain for today on X, the everything app. Okay, good stream. Had fun on some of them. Got sad on others. That's the nature of doing political commentary. Hope anybody out there who's watching this had a good time, had some laughs, laughed along with me. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. I'm technically Clay, and that's it. Bye-bye.